Yeah, which kind of shows like how comfortable they are with Gilda. I don't think I would
Yeah.
ever tell anyone. So how'd you spend your afternoon? I just went to the sperm bank, make a deposit, got
Got some dinner money.
Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD necessary.
We're the podcast that recaps all episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot.
Make yourself a grasshopper and enjoy the ride.
Hello there, Ryan.
Hello, Rob.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing because I have a new microphone and it sounds awesome. So
Woohoo!
hopefully it'll stay awesome. Sorry again, everyone. It took me this long to get a really good mic, so I have it. So we should have hopefully no more sound issues.
To be fair, he had a good mic. It was just not the optimal setup. Things get confusing with audio.
Yeah, it was a bit of a slap in the face, but I have a mic that, well, we'll see what happens in the playback.
Yeah.
I may end up cutting this part out because of a fail.
Oh man, this was the worst purchase ever. What did I do?
Well, for any new listeners out there, we are Theoretical Nonsense, the podcast that recaps, reviews, and deep dives facts from the Big Bang Theory, which we call IQ points. As a reminder to everyone, this is Ryan's first time watching the Big Bang Theory, and I've seen the series multiple times. And today is actually a special episode. We finished season 1, so Ryan and I are actually going to be doing a recap of everything. So topics that we're going to talk about, like I said, if this is your first time joining us, Ryan has been compared to Sheldon from multiple people in different occasions. So he's been keeping tallies on how close he is, or how similar he is to being Sheldon.
And technically I am at the end of season 1, 20 points for not like Sheldon and 24 being like Sheldon. The end of season 1, I am like Sheldon compared to other
you're
people.
Shelley.
anyone else at all.
Oh. If anyone can hear that, we have a special guest. I have my baby wrapped up in a solly. So
Yay.
Hopefully he'll go back to sleep. Hopefully I'm not being too loud.
Guest stars.
Hopefully this counts as bonding, where he can hear my voice and I'm holding him.
It's the first hobby you have to share with him.
Yeah. He's doing okay right now, so if you hear that little cooing and stuff like that, that's just him.
It might be me.
It might actually be me.
Yeah.
It's the sound of my eyes dilating.
Oh, we've become that podcast.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into it. We have an Instagram account. Please follow us at Theoretical Nonsense Pod. We have a TikTok at Theoretical Nonsense Pod, which I haven't even touched yet, so I have no words. I'm sorry. Shoot us an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com, and if you give us a 5-star review on Apple, we'll give you a shout out.
Have you checked in a while? I checked yesterday, I think.
I checked yesterday too, and we're at 15 total ratings.
Yeah.
Is that what we were at last time?
I think so.
I should keep track of this.
It's getting high, so double digits. Wow.
But you know what? We're sitting pretty at 4.9, and that's actually been pretty. I've been feeling really good that we made it through the entire first season at 4.9.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I'm proud of us.
I'm really proud of us too. I'm really proud that we actually dedicated ourselves to this. To be honest, I wasn't sure how long it was going to last.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I was really interested and ready to invest in it, but it definitely has become something like a reoccurring activity. What's the word for that? Not just hobby, but a
staple of life.
Staple of life. Oh, my reason to live.
Yes, Ryan, you've become my rock.
Yes. Every 2 weeks, Rob, it's you. Yeah. It's all for you.
This was all for you, Ryan. I've been trying to reconnect with you for years.
And I knew Big Bang Theory was how to do it.
Well, like I said, this is a very special episode. Since we finished season one, Ryan and I are going to go over our thoughts on season one, but we're also going to, before we get started, we're actually going to start with our recap of the unaired pilot, which I keep calling the lost pilot just because I think it sounds better than unaired pilot. It just sounds more mysterious. The lost pilot.
The Lost Pilot. Dun dun dun. And before we
So,
do that,
yeah.
I have a little story to share, but first I have Rob sent me a gift, and I want to say thank you, Rob.
That's right. Merry Christmas. I think this is going to air after Christmas, so hopefully everyone had a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
No,
Thanksgiving.
I mean, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I need to edit that part out. Merry Christmas.
Yule or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate, but I appreciate the gift. Thank you. It is a pop television Big Bang Theory Sheldon Cooper number 776.
Yeah, because you ended the season more like Sheldon,
Like
so
Sheldon.
I had to send you the little pop thing.
And I have to say that I meant to get it and like open it up like in front of you and like be surprised, and I apologize for that. But what happened was we've been getting packages on my porch, and I haven't been living at my house because I'm doing some remodeling. And one of the packages we got, and my partner opened it up and goes, "Don't look at this. I think it's a present from your mom." Not reading any of the gift receipts or anything or the message on it. And so we bring it home to my parents' cabin and drop it off. And it sits there for a few days. And I go, "Mom, I'm not allowed to look in that package. Kelsey thinks you got me something." She goes, "Oh, yeah, I think it's a gift, but it's not for me. I don't know what it is." And I'm like, "Kelsey, do you know what it is?" She's like, "I have no idea." And so I open it up and I look at it. I go, it's Sheldon. You guys know I do a podcast on Big Bang Theory, right? Like you know this has been like for the past year something I'm doing. They're like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, okay.
I take it they've never actually seen this episode or have bothered to even listen. Well, I know
Up in front of Rob, I'm like, I could just like wrap it back up and pretend. I mean, that's the point of gifts. I'm like, oh God, that's what Sheldon would say.
Yeah.
And for that reason, Sheldon gets one more point on this special day.
Oh no.
Oh no. Because I actually could see myself being like, "Oh man, I just pulled a Sheldon." And so
well, on the flip side, if you actually rewrapped it, lied about it, and got away with it, Sheldon would actually think that you're a sociopath. Just like when Leonard was lying to Penny.
That's true, but then Sheldon went through with it and like expanded on the lie.
That's true.
So he is kind of a sociopath himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you very much. I am going to display it on my desk.
Yep, we have to commemorate the end of season one, and you are more like Sheldon. So basically, towards the end of season two, if you're not like Sheldon, I have to get you a different pop action figure. I have to get you a Penny, apparently.
Penny. Fair enough.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to all of our listeners, and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's make 2023 great.
Yeah. To another year of podcasting and enjoying each other's companies. Okay, so we can get on with the Lost episode.
Yes, so initial thoughts. I guess for anybody that hasn't seen it, there is or didn't even know about this, there is an unaired pilot. But pretty much all of the scenes are posted on YouTube. All you got to do is just type in pretty much Big Bang Theory unaired pilot, and then there's a playlist out there that actually has every scene in it. So if you want to watch it, if you want to watch disappointment, go ahead and watch it.
The quality is not there. I mean, I thought some of the jokes were fine. I'm gonna get to that, but the quality, you can tell like they didn't have as much money, and whoever put it on YouTube also didn't have, it's a copy of a copy, it seems like. So
yeah,
but it's all there is, and that's sometimes it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, I actually found it really interesting to see what could have been. Like, imagine if it actually did get picked up like this. The biggest differences is that there's no Howard and no Raj, that there's two female characters instead. Yeah. One will eventually get replaced with Penny, and the other one is just a new character isn't related to anybody else, just pretty much got eliminated. But that character will become the template of a future character, though.
I was wondering that. I was really wondering that. Because, but I was going with Sarah Gilbert's character Leslie,
Yeah,
and then
I thought the exact same thing too. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, it's not quite the same, but I can see where they were going with it. But I'm kind of wondering if there's somebody else in the works.
Maybe. Like I said, everyone, Ryan has not seen the series. He has not looked ahead. He got one little spoiler, but that's it. So
that's it. That's stupid baseball game. Ruined
yeah.
it for me.
So when the time comes, I'll let you know.
All right.
But yeah, the two new characters that they had were a character called Gilda and Katie. Katie, which will eventually become Penny, and Gilda is just the female character that works alongside with Leonard and Sheldon. So Leonard and Sheldon were pretty much the exact same, more or less, except Sheldon seemed a lot more sexy,
Yeah, a little bit more competent, I guess, right?
Yeah, and he's actually like had sex and everything like that, and he actually masturbates and apparently likes it.
And
he likes the big butt.
He likes the big butts and he cannot lie, right?
Mm-hmm. But then the two female characters, one was Gilda, who was played by Iris Bear. And I looked into what she was doing around that time to land that pilot and what she did after to see if it was like kind of a heartbreaking thing that she didn't get it. Because I wasn't sure if the actors actually bloomed, after Big Bang Theory, because like when a show, like people say this all the time, like, oh, you didn't take that role. If only you got that role or took that role, your life would be completely different. And Big Bang Theory is actually a really popular show. So a lot of their careers kind of bloomed afterwards.
Yeah. Well, isn't that like with Family Guy, the girl who played Meg for the first couple episodes decided to do something else. And then Mila Kunis took over. And everybody's like, wow, she that was kind of a huge role. I don't know how huge cartoon voice is for a side character like that, but it's still I think Mila Kunis has made the character Meg what she is today, so it would have been a completely different reality.
Yeah, that's true. And Family Guy, that's like a working job for like what, 15 years? Probably still going on. Is it still going on?
It's still going on.
Yeah, that's a good job. That's a steady paycheck right there.
Yeah, I think it was canceled for a few years and then it got brought back.
Yeah, I remember they made a joke about it too. I still remember that joke when they came back like 3 years later. Peter was like, "Well, if this show, and that show all get canceled, then maybe we have a chance." And it was a list of shows that did get canceled. That was a clever joke.
I was wondering too if the woman who played Gilda, like, I'm curious what you found on her, because like if she's like watching Big Bang Theory, like sits down one night for TV and it's like, wait, I was supposed to be on this show. What the hell happened?
That could have been me if
the fudge.
If test audiences just liked me more. But so before the pilot, so Gilda was played by Iris Bear, and before the pilot, she was on Label the Carry Guy and a TV show called E-Ring. I'm familiar with Larry the Cable Guy, but not E-Ring.
Was that the Jim Carrey movie?
It was a TV show.
Oh, it was a TV show. Okay.
So I'm not quite sure.
I'm just thinking the Cable Guy. There we go. I think.
And then since the pilot didn't work out for her, she moved on to a series of short films, and she just, based off her IMDb, she's just done a series of guest appearances in TV shows. So not to like knock her career or anything like that, but it didn't like bloom like what happened with Penny,
With Penny. Yeah.
And,
I would say
even Sarah Gilbert, how she got like a TV show, like she became like a talk show host.
Oh yeah.
For like a long time.
I was thinking who plays Leonard?
Johnny Galecki.
Yeah, I knew him more from stuff before this than I've known him with stuff after. So he was already kind of out there, but I think this definitely helped. I mean, it didn't hurt anything.
Yeah. And then moving on to the character Katie, who will eventually evolve into Penny. She was played by Amanda Walsh. And before the pilot, she did a bunch of smaller roles, like TV shows, small parts in movies, and everything like that. Then after the pilot, since it didn't work out for her, she was in a different TV show called Sons and Daughters. And that only lasted 11 episodes.
Mm.
So didn't really last. And then she was in a bunch of movies. So yeah, not too bad. At least they're still working now. So
That says something, right?
yeah,
They haven't been disheartened or jaded by Hollywood too much to pack up and leave.
yeah.
So,
I'd be done after the first projection.
yeah,
Fuck
right.
this, I'm done.
And it'd probably be my own fault. I'd like walk in and I'd pull a Raj and not know how to do a audition, just like clam up and then walk out and be like, why didn't they choose me? Well, Ryan,
Yeah.
you didn't talk. Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, any other first impressions of the pilot?
I was gonna say two things. One, that Katie's character, I read somewhere that it was a Big Bang Theory fan page, wiki page, that she was kind of replaced with Penny because test audiences didn't find her so likable, that she was kind of mean. And I kind of agree with that. I don't think that her character would maintain that, but she was definitely coming from a darker place and was more cynical than Penny. And Penny's a little bit more bubbly.
Yeah, I guess the long and short of it is, in my opinion, I feel like they made a really good choice scrapping this pilot because I felt like there really wasn't a lot of places for it to go. Like just
Mm-hmm.
like the way that the story was built. Like you said, Katie was a little on the mean side. She was kind of unlikable. And
Yeah,
then Gilda, I actually liked Gilda.
I did too. I
uh,
was surprised.
I enjoyed her, but at the same time, the whole like there's two guys and there's two girls, and then it's just going to be a series of episodes about how they're kind of into each other but not into each other. Both Leonard and Sheldon seem to be like vying for Katie, and
Mm-hmm.
Gilda was after Leonard and everything like that, but she had previous relations with Sheldon and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So it's like this series of like not a love triangle, but there's four of them, so a love square.
a love square. That's a good way to put it. I'm hoping that they would have introduced some more characters because that square just seems like it would go flat pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's where I think it was a really good choice to eliminate the sexuality of Sheldon, that it was pretty much a linear trajectory for Leonard to Penny.
Yeah,
Because you don't want to play like Team Leonard or Team Sheldon, because that's kind of what they're building towards. Because then
yeah.
it's just going to divide the audience.
I agree with that. I like the way you put that. I was also going to say with this too that it was really interesting. I don't think I've ever watched a Lost pilot like this, so I didn't know what to expect, but you could see a lot of the jokes from other episodes in the first season kind of get reused in different ways. But the first scene is the sperm bank, exactly how the original pilot started out, or the new pilot, I guess. And every now and then I like pick up a joke. I'm like, that's the exact same idea that they used in a later episode. And I thought that was cool that they knew what was working and got to reuse some of those funny jokes or what we came to like.
Yeah, the jokes that they reuse, I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So should we do a quick little breakdown of this?
Yeah,
We'll
let's do
quickly
it.
break. Yeah, we'll break this one down, and then we'll dive into real Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
All right. So, Lost Pilot, as I like to call it, found it on YouTube if anyone's interesting, and it was made, or at least produced, on May 1st, 2006. So, scene one, like we said, it starts with Leonard and Sheldon at the sperm bank, just like the original episode. And just like the pilot, or the real pilot, Sheldon has his reservations on selling the sperm to a high IQ sperm bank, since there's no guarantee it would produce high IQ people. So then
But they've
Leonard
also
makes oh yeah, you.
oh sorry. They've picked up right after they finished
They're depositing.
ejaculating, right?
Yes.
For lack of a better word.
Yes.
They've already deposited their deposits.
Yep, and they're
that
doing it for dinner because
dinner,
they need cash for dinner, which seems even sadder
right?
than gaining more money for fractional T1.
And I think it's partially that this pilot was just a little bit darker, more cynical. And I'm sure that, well, we went over in a previous episode how much these researchers make, and they make a pretty penny. They're not filthy rich, but saying they needed money for dinner, so they go to the sperm bank. That was bleak.
Yeah.
So,
We need food, so we're gonna jerk off in a cup.
It's wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good premise, but it's much darker. Yeah.
And then just like the pilot, Leonard talks to the nurse, same nurse that they used in the real pilot. Then he solves her crossword puzzle, and yeah, anything else on scene one?
Sheldon threatens to take the deposit back, and I think it's important that they do end up giving the deposit, where in the actual pilot that aired was they didn't go through with it, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit different personalities, different goals, I guess, but also
Yeah,
that
so
Sheldon,
in that universe, someone could have taken their donation. There could be
yeah.
a little Leonard or a little Shelley out there.
In fact, they kind of premise that they do this quite regularly, right? Because
Yeah.
Gilda says later that, oh no,
Oh,
you use your sperm money for a
a
hooker,
hooker.
right? So she knows that this is kind of an ongoing thing. So there might be multiple Sheldons,
which
multiple.
yeah, which kind of shows like how comfortable they are with Gilda. I don't think I would
Yeah.
ever tell anyone. So how'd you spend your afternoon? I just went to the sperm bank, make a deposit,
Got some dinner money. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I was gonna say that Sheldon threatens, he bluffs, and it's kind of some of that same personality where he thinks he's brighter than everybody else, but quickly gets shot down.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right.
All right, well, moving on to the next scene. They're on the street and they come across a girl that's upset. Sheldon wants to just pass by, but Leonard's a huge perv and he carries on watching her and tries to be the knight in shining armor to like save her and everything. And then Sheldon makes a good point and says, "Hey, would you be inclined to help her if she wasn't attractive?" Leonard just approaches her and very awkward introduction. They make that curry joke.
The curry joke carries over. Curry's a laxative, right?
Yep, which we did in IQ points in the
Did an
pilot
IQ
episode.
point. So it was kind of cool to see that get reused, that they knew that was a solid joke.
Yep. And then Leonard showcases that he and Sheldon are non-threatening, and then she says yes to going out to dinner, and that's how they meet Katie.
And I like here too, I think we mentioned that Sheldon is more sexual in this version of Big Bang Theory. And at the beginning at the sperm bank, it's mentioned that he's brought a magazine from home to use with big butts. And in this episode, this scene, Leonard says, Sheldon says, would you help her if she wasn't attractive? And Leonard says, you'd probably help her if she had a big butt. And so they're kind of playing with that again, a little bit more interested in sexuality, where I think in the version we know and love and podcast about, he is not like that, or as of now.
Yeah, he's definitely not like yeah.
But
Very
I think
different.
It's funny knowing he likes big butts.
Yeah. Well, all right. They're at the restaurant now. So they're getting dinner, and Sheldon is uncomfortable since it's not their usual spots. So that carried over into the regular series. And Katie notices Sheldon's weirdness, gets blunt with him, and asks him if he's ever seen a naked woman. Then the sarcasm joke kind of comes in, which happens in episode 2. And we learn more about Katie. Katie got dumped by a married guy, and she's super upset about it. And she needs to find a new place to live. So then Leonard offers their place, which is so weird. It's like, really? A complete stranger? It's weird on both of their sides. Why would you even offer to a complete stranger, even if you find them
Yeah.
attractive? And then why would Katie even say yes?
That it did
Just
seem forced, or it seemed weird. Like I
very
wouldn't trust.
inorganic.
Yeah.
Like how they met and how they become a group feels very inorganic.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like in the new series or in the regular series, Penny is a new neighbor. That makes so much more sense.
And she's moving in because she just broke up with a boyfriend, but at the same time, she's a neighbor, not living in their apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull some of the same. Yeah, in the next scene, she ends up showering, and that's one of the first episodes. Is Penny showers in their place, but at the
Yep.
same time, it's not like she just moved in. As this seemed more forced. But I was going to add to that. It was interesting that in this version, Sheldon's spot was more about where they eat in the restaurant, not what restaurant they eat at, but that they have to sit in a specific spot at the restaurant. And he goes through the same like kind of spiel of why it's his spot, but it's regarding like food and catching the waiter's attention, getting the food piping hot from the kitchen. Whereas in the version we know, it's about where he sits in his apartment. I thought that was an interesting shift and about priorities. That if he has a spot in his apartment, he's a little bit more introverted, or it seemed like to me.
I did find it interesting that he used that it was closer to the kitchen, so his food comes out hotter. It's like literally like 10 steps away. It's like,
Yeah.
how much hot? I mean, that takes like what, extra 5 seconds? You're fine, dude. But you know what? He needs a list of reasons.
Yeah.
All right. So now, after they eat, they are back at their place, and she's looking at their boards in the fashion of what Penny did in the first episode. And both guys, of course, are trying to impress her, just like how they are trying to impress Penny. And Katie needs to shower. And I noticed that the guy's apartment the layout was super different.
Yeah.
It looked a lot more cluttered, like a lot less put together.
And not as much character either. Like I feel like the version we have is definitely playing on the characters of being nerds and nerdum of comic books and toys and stuff, video games. In this version, they kind of look more like older professors, right?
Yeah, like the boards are there. It was kind of dark, not a lot of light.
Yeah, it was different, but
no
again,
action figures, no comic book stuff.
Which is part of what I enjoy about the series, right? That it connects on that fandom. But yeah, here it's like it would have been completely different progression of characters, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of plays with that whole this is a little bit darker and more cynical of a pilot or show that it could have been. She goes to get a shower, right?
Yep. And enters Gilda.
I like Gilda's character.
Yeah, and like I thought that like it was a good template for Leslie as well.
Yeah.
And this is where that line comes in where Gilda meets Katie. She's in her towel and she says, "Don't tell me you spent your sperm money on hookers."
Yeah.
Very casual about that.
So she knows about it. I don't know if they've done this before, if they just had told her their plan, like we're going to go out to dinner tonight after we donate some sperm. How's that even come up in a conversation?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just kind of shocked. Like, why do you tell people about this?
But they do seem very close to her, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see them even telling Raj about Raj and Howard, but
yeah. Well, Gilda meets Katie, and Gilda tries to intimidate her because it turns out that Gilda is super into Leonard, and she has this master plan of how she's going to end up with Leonard. You know, it starts off with working late, and then maybe he'll ask her for coffee, and then coffee will turn into, you know, a little something.
And then they'll have babies.
Yeah. And then she tries to ensure that Katie doesn't get in the way of that. Katie flashes her because, of course.
Yeah, that seems like wow. Like not only is she showering in their apartment, but she flashes somebody she doesn't even know. And it's like, what did she say? Something like, would I try to tempt him with this? And shows herself.
Yep. And Gilda's like, Exactly.
Which I didn't understand. It seemed like Gilda was very attractive too. So I don't know why. It's just low self-esteem or something, because I'm like, huh. But whatever.
Yeah. Anyways. Well, Katie's going out for a drink. And then Gilda gets jealous and possessive over Leonard. And apparently Leonard got drunk at a party and proclaimed he's a perpetual motion machine, which will come back in a later episode.
So that hasn't come up yet, but it's another joke that gets used.
Oh no, what the PMS when they were at the science school? Perpetual Motion Squad.
Yes, you're right. I thought you were talking about the event of him getting drunk and peeing on a pinwheel.
Oh. Well, Katie leaves, and the guys are drooling over her. They make a comment that she does not have childbearing hindquarters. And then they're both like, well, there are enough children in the world.
Yeah. And Sheldon still checks her out. Like, it's not what he's into, but he's still, again, very much more sexual than the other show.
Well, then, next scene, Leonard comes out with his lightsaber, very in the fashion of what he did in episode 2 when he heard Ruckus, and it turned out that Sheldon was cleaning Penny's apartment.
Yes, with the lightsaber.
So, great joke still.
And I liked Katie's joke here. Again, it's kind of
crass.
More crass. That's a good way, deviant. But she goes, if that vibrates, I may need to borrow it. And I laughed. I thought that was good, but I can't see it. Like, I could not see Penny saying that, and I don't really see it fitting in with the current show as is.
Yeah, they made a very different Penny. Like, they pretty much took Katie's template and then removed all like the kind of like the meanness, the over sexualization of her and everything like that, and just made her more wholesome.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was like, there's a part of me that feels like that was almost like a sexist move to do that, because like they're trying to not depict women as sexual beings. Granted, Penny does eventually like kind of unleash herself to like showcasing that she does get around a little bit and everything like that.
I was going to say, her
Katie
boyfriend
is a lot more overtly sexual.
She is overtly, like, almost raunchy. And like
to the point
crass.
To the point where test audiences were like, whoa, we're not used to seeing a woman like this.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can handle this.
Whereas Penny, she doesn't talk about it. She doesn't kiss and tell, I guess. But the whole thing in the last episode was her boyfriend wrote a blog about all the sex they were having and where they're having it. So she's definitely a sexually enabled female character, but I
guess she doesn't flaunt it around.
She doesn't flaunt it like this one does. And this one,
and I guess that didn't vibe well with the test audience.
And, the other joke that, it was mentioned earlier, but it's coming up again, that her mom's new husband was
her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. And like that almost got creepy. Like, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I can tell like where they were going with the joke, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe it's just because I'm so used to these characters being in certain lights, but that seemed dark. Like, whoa. Yeah.
All right, well, now we're back at the apartment still. Katie is back from drinking. She has a story about a guy that spilled his drink on her, so she's there. She strips in front of him, and then they start talking about Katie's life. And then Katie erases Leonard's board, and I loved his reaction. That was a great reaction. Like, yeah, I don't need to win the Nobel Prize. It's fine.
That's something about this version of Leonard, too, is that he seems more energetic. Like, when she started racing, he was like, no, okay. Where the actual version of Leonard seems like he'd be defeated from the very get. Like, oh no. Like, he seems... Oh. Yeah. So, a little bit different character on his part, too, there. But, yeah, it's pretty funny that she erased all of his hard work.
Yeah. And then she writes a C, which stands for clingy, not the C that we're thinking.
Actually, it took me a second to get that. Like, I'm ashamed because I was like, is she meaning cleavage? And then tick, tick, tick. I'm like, oh no.
It's the other bad one.
Like, cleavage isn't so bad. What?
Yeah.
Like, no. Oh.
And then she tells us her story, and she's sad and she needs a drink. And then Leonard calls her out that she kind of is stupid because of the choices that she makes. He kind of just went all out and said, "Yeah, I guess you are pretty stupid." And then she draws a spaceship on wheels.
And that's actually they don't say it, but was it Occam's razor?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where in a world of infinite possibilities that the easiest one's the most likely. And she's like, "Are you calling me stupid?" And he goes, "Well, it's the easiest possibility," or something like that, to kind of get to the point that
I thought about Occam's razor too.
right? Yeah. So that was kind of interesting that they brought that back up too. But yeah, he calls her stupid. It's kind of mean on his part. I don't see him doing that in the show we know. So, but he does pretty much call her straight up stupid.
Yeah.
And she draws a picture of a spaceship on wheels.
Yep. I like she did her she labeled her mom on the board as a B.
Yeah.
Like oh, does that stand for bitch? No, Barbara.
And that's where she goes, and her husband used to enter K all the time or something. I'm like, whoa!
Oh my god.
I mean, I appreciate that type of joke, but like on this sitcom, it just seemed like, I don't know, like an alternate universe.
All right. Well, Leonard and Sheldon and Gilda are having Chinese food in the next scene, and Gilda wants to advance the relationship with Leonard. So she comes clean that she and Sheldon had a previous relation at a Star Trek convention, and they were caught up in the Vulcan mating ritual.
Which comes up again, too.
Yep, that comes up, too. Katie returns because she could live there for free without banging someone. So it's like, oh, that's a really weird way to like keep her within the group,
and that no one else really cares, right? They're like, okay,
it's like, so you're just gonna let her freeload there, and that's it. Like, that's the story.
Yeah. It was kind of bizarre, but I think the biggest surprise for me in this version of Big Bang Theory was that Sheldon had sex before the show with Gilda. Like when that was unloaded on us, I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, and he just kind of smiled at Leonard and then gave him like the Vulcan sign. Like, yep,
which is what he's doing in the pop head right now.
He is?
Yeah, he's doing the
nice
Vulcan sign.
Take a picture of that and I'll post it on the Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever you get a chance.
Can do.
Well, then she takes them out dancing and awkward dancing. Yeah, I didn't love that scene. I mean, I get where they're going, that they don't know how to act in social situations, but I don't know if it's just because since I've seen the entire series and I've seen awkwardness and everything, to just throw that in there. Like, okay, nerds and researchers can't dance.
And, I think part of this was kind of lost on me, too, because of, I just watched the Wednesday series, Wednesday Addams. Have you watched that yet?
Not yet, but it's on our list.
On your list? Have you heard anything?
I'm in the crappy stage of parenting where I can't watch TV.
Oh, no.
Watch him, and I have to keep him as far away from screen time as possible. So it's like, yeah, we can't watch anything. Even the sound is too stimulating.
Yeah.
For him, and then after a while, he just kind of freaks out. So no TV for Robert for a while.
Sadness.
But at least I have, you know what? I have you and whiskey. So
yeah.
I'm good.
I'll drink to that. And this is where Ryan's cooing comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a scene in Wednesday that's getting a lot of hype right now, where, what's her name?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega dances, and apparently she choreographed her own dance scene. And I've heard that she filmed it like the first day she was diagnosed with COVID. So like everything about the scene is like, wow, she had a lot on her shoulders, and that's respectable. But something about this awkward dancing goth dance is addictive to watch, and I can like watch it on repeat. It's almost hypnotic, and it's definitely what I would say as the geeky nerd dancing. Maybe not. It's what I like. It's probably how I would dance, and I enjoy that. But what they did in this scene of Big Bang Theory was totally like preposterous. Something that like not even socially inept individuals would dance like this is way over the top. But yeah, after seeing Wednesday, I'm like, other dance scenes, I'm holding a higher bar to them because Jenna Ortega did this brilliantly.
I've been seeing some stuff like that on Instagram, but I've been trying to avoid it because I know I want to watch it. So
that's fair.
I kind of just skip over it.
You'll know the scene when it comes up. It's fun. But yeah, and then Katie. The weird part is that this seems like the nicest Katie is whispers to a girl next to her saying they don't get out much, right?
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like enjoying their company and isn't embarrassed by them. But I feel like that's the nicest, and it's kind of out of nowhere because she's given no reason why she's going to be nice or why she is nice throughout the whole episode.
They have not bonded at all.
They've not bonded.
She's barely had any time with Gilda. Sheldon and Leonard awkwardly hit on her and probably stare at her.
Yeah.
Leonard even called her stupid. So it's like...
Straight up.
It just didn't really make sense. So So the only thing that made sense was that it got scrapped.
Yeah.
This entire pilot.
Well, technically the jokes didn't get scrapped, so they got reused, some of them. But the whole... most of it got rebooted.
Yeah.
Reworked.
Yeah, it needed some work. And they did a lot of good changes. So,
they did.
Yeah. But that was the pilot.
That's the pilot.
That was the Lost pilot. Overall thoughts?
I loved being able to see what could have been and what became, and knowing that I'm enjoying what has become. And that's unfair because sometimes pilots don't really manifest what they're going to do, but here it seemed like we got the better show.
Yeah, I kind of feel the exact same way, and we kind of talked about it in the beginning of the episode of why it didn't make sense, why the characters don't fit together, that they kind of will eventually write themselves into a hole.
Yeah.
Where they don't know where to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to turn into like those, I guess, early, like late 90s or early 2000 shows where it's like everyone ends up hooking up with each other. So then after that, it's like, well, what other relationship combinations can we do? So that's kind of where it went. Kind of like Friends, like the whole like Rachel and Joey ending up like hooking up for like a little bit. I was like, what?
And to be fair on that one, it got to like, what was that, on season 8 or 9?
Yeah.
By that point, so they made it last. But yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, nobody liked that.
Yeah. And then they brought Phoebe never really hooked up with any of the friends, or
she kissed Ross before the friend group happened. Which they showed in a flashback.
Yeah. But then they brought in what's his name, Ant-Man.
Let's just leave him as Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. They
Ant-Man
brought in Ant-Man.
came in and stole her away.
Yeah. And I was like, that worked really well for me. So I was really happy that her character didn't just like get smashed together with Joey or something.
Yeah. Oh. All right, you see I'm rocking back and forth. I'm soothing the little monster. So don't mind me. Well, hope I'm not too distracted.
I'm just having fun over here.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on. We are done with the Lost Pilots. We will never discuss it. Well, we won't. We will discuss it again when the character comes around of the template that was Gilda.
No, the episode's dead to me. I will never discuss it again. I'll be like, Gilda who?
Gilda what?
Gilda
I do like that name. It is kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the season 1 recap, like of the real season. Real Big Bang Theory. The reason why we're here.
So we're going
some of the
superlatives, right?
Yeah. So let's talk favorite episodes. Do you have like a one episode in particular that you thought was your favorite? I'm really curious because it's your first time watching.
There's a few. I put some runners up, but I think it came down to, there's a theme here that my favorite character right now is Raj. that I'm enjoying him and his character arc and development and the jokes he's making. So the pork chop indeterminacy is what I came up with my favorite episode.
That was a great episode.
It's where Sheldon's sister comes into town, right?
Yep.
And everybody's hitting on her. A lot of good jokes and characters and the family, background with Sheldon's not family being quite a bit different than he is. And it's his twin sister too, of all things, right? So
Yeah.
I like that episode.
Yeah, that's
How
one
about-
thing that I like on this series is like I like the unveiling of Sheldon's family. Like you got to meet his mom, then you got to meet his sister, and you got to see just how different he is.
Mm-hmm. And that they just accept him and go along with it. Like, okay.
Yeah. My favorite episode was actually the Middle Earth Paradigm. It was the Halloween episode, just because I really like Halloween. I don't know if you heard that, but that was
That was a
little
baby.
monster. Yeah, that was the baby.
That baby.
I really enjoyed the costumes, and I loved that scene where they all entered as the Flash.
Yeah.
They did no coordination whatsoever, and they all dressed up as the Flash. And I really enjoyed seeing them in social. It was the first time we get to see them in a true social setting.
I was gonna say that was the first party they went to, and it wasn't as stereotypical or cliche, I guess, as a dance scene in the Lost pilot, right? So I enjoyed watching their interaction in that scene of how are they going to handle this, and they tried their best and they made it work, right?
Yeah.
And Leonard gets into a fight with Penny's boyfriend, verbal fight, right?
Yep. Well, he does assault him though.
That's true too.
Yeah. Well, my runner-up episode was the luminous fish effect.
Oh,
Because I love Mrs. Cooper. She's such a delight. I loved her. And again, I like seeing how different his family is to him. That they're very religious. They're a little bit more grounded with reality and things like that. But it's like, wow, you produce Sheldon.
Yeah, and they're where do they live? Texas, right?
Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
He always says Texas, so I don't know. I don't know if they actually say the city at any point. Maybe they do. We'll have to keep our eyes out open
and keep looking.
Yeah. What was your runner-up?
It's kind of tied between two. Either the Nerdvana Annihilation or the Pancake Batter Anomaly. I think I'm leaning towards Pancake Batter Anomaly.
That was actually one of my least favorite ones.
Really?
Because I think I just found them all very annoying. The stupid decisions that they were making and the sheer stupidity that they were. And I understand that that's the point of it, is that they're book smart, but they could be social smart or social dumb.
Let me see. I need to double check. Did I get that one right?
That was the one where Sheldon gets sick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking, least favorite episode, but before I get into that, and I dislike my least favorite episode for the same reasons. I didn't like the choices they were making. But in the sick episode, I thought it was funny just how they all are so extreme with Sheldon getting sick, and they just jump ship and they have protocols. And I think my favorite part is that Penny takes care of him, that she is a very good person and she can't stand him, but she's like, I'm not gonna let him suffer by himself. And that built her character up for me. I just thought it was really sweet.
And it was the introduction of Soft Kitty, so
yeah, that's true. That's Soft Kitty.
In terms of IQ points, my favorite episode was the Dumpling Paradox and the Lubin-filled Decay, because I feel like I enjoyed those IQ points the best. Not necessarily the storyline, because Lubin-filled Decay is actually on my list of least favorite episodes overall.
I can see that. Which one was Lubin-filled Decay again?
That was when they were caught in a lie. It was where Penny was doing Rent, and they were lying about her. So then they brought their cousin.
The actor.
Yeah. I thought it was a huge waste of DJ Qualls.
Yeah,
They
I
could have
kind of
used
did
him
too.
in such a better spot.
Yeah, I like those IQ points too. I'm looking at them right now.
For any reminder out there, I'm going to post this on our Instagram, but where are we? Lupin. All right. Lupinfeld Decay. So we talked about the Sarah Connor Chronicles. We talked what is molecular postronium? What are the telltale signs of a sociopath? And that's the kind of stuff that I really like. Like what makes a psychopath? What makes a sociopath?
That was fun. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
That
Yeah.
was fun.
We talked about the REM cycle, the etiquette and social protocol, the atomic clock, the origins of break a leg, the Queen Mary, and are middle children more prone to drug addiction, and can you be genetically predisposed to addiction? Along with what are double-blind studies. So it was very full episode, and it was very interesting things. So that's why I enjoyed all the IQ points in this one.
Interesting. I think my favorite episode for IQ points, and it has my favorite IQ point in it. I won't go there quite yet, but the Jerusalem duality, because I learned quite a bit in there. And wait, was my favorite one in? No, my favorite one wasn't in there, but I did like that one just because there's so much stuff I didn't know and I don't understand, and I love learning new stuff like that. But it also made me feel like I connected with the character. I guess I got a lot of Sheldon points in that for not quite understanding why is this so important and trying to understand it. But yeah, that one kind of pushed my knowledge base quite a bit more than I'm used to. And so I voted for that one for my favorite IQ point episode.
Yeah, it's a really good one. We talked about North Korea and how many people have escaped. Open science grids. What else? The Stevenson Award. Wolfgang Amadeus.
That was the one, right, where he...
That was where he was feeling really dumb, and then he couldn't think of the person. He's like, he was talking about shoot, what was the kid's name? Something Kim.
I remember the characters. Something Kim. And I called him Kim through everything, but
he was like, he's my so and so to my something, and then Howard was like Antonio's salary. He's like, oh, even you're smarter than me now.
Weren't you saying that the Mozart Amadeus thing, that didn't one of them try to kill the other one or something?
Yeah,
like I had no idea about that. That's what I was trying to think of, which one tried to kill whom, but I found that fascinating. Like, whoa, I never knew it got to that point, but cool. So
well, what was your favorite IQ point overall of all of season 1? If you could sum it up to one IQ point that was the most fun to research, the most fun to talk about, what would it be?
I'm not sure if it was the most fun to talk about, but my favorite, and it's probably because it keeps coming back to me just in daily life. I don't know why, but who is Indira Gandhi?
Indira Gandhi. That was one of my top ones too.
Really?
That was such a sleeper hit.
Right?
I was just like, yeah.
And it's like, oh, she was really great for the economy. She boosted the country, and she also almost got executed, right?
Yeah.
Being
well, she was assassinated.
She was assassinated, right? But she wasn't executed. Like,
yeah.
She was like, it almost seemed like she was becoming a dictator to some point. But it was like,
yeah.
she's great, and she's maybe bad. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating.
It was a dun dun dun.
Exactly. How about you? What was your favorite IQ point?
So my favorite IQ point I've known since episode 5. So it was in the hamburger postulate. It was the opening scene when they're playing the tabletop game with all the condiments. they were recreating the Battle of Gettysburg with fictional characters, where they talked about Superman versus orcs, Godzilla versus the Illinois cavalry, and the Hulk. And that was my favorite because it was a lot of good research on the Battle of Gettysburg and a lot of research on fictional characters and research on who would actually beat who. And
Yeah.
I like found that so fun because I was like, well, what are Superman's powers? Is he actually vulnerable to magic? Orcs have powers, but well, orcs are, you know, science not sciencey, the fantasy characters.
How
And
would
it's
they
like,
hold
well,
up
are they
against them?
technically in quote magic?
Hmm.
So like would orcs actually beat Superman? So it was all this like sub research within research, and it was all comic book based things. So I had a lot of fun with that one.
That reminds me of the guy who wrote World War Z, the book. I did not like the movie version very well, but the book is completely different. It
Completely.
yeah. You've read it?
Yeah.
I
I
think you've
actually
told me
did the
that.
audio. I did the audiobook. It's
All
actually
right.
a great audiobook because
Yeah.
of the style.
Uh-huh. It's like a bunch of interviews, so the interviews sound more realistic as an audiobook, right?
Yeah, it was great.
He also did a short story about vampires versus zombies, and it's great because it takes it to an angle that you don't think of, but the vampires are basically so arrogant that they don't take the zombie apocalypse seriously until the zombies have taken over the world and there's no one left to eat. And it's like, whoa. So it's kind of fun thinking out these little fantasy based versus matches because there's a lot to consider. And like you said,
There are, yeah. I know it's pointless thoughts. Like it's not going to pursue mankind or anything like that, but it's just really fun to think about.
yeah, it's a what do they call those? Not hypothetical, but
It kind of
uh,
is. It's a fantasy based hypothetical.
what's it called when it's something that you're supposed to get you thinking? Rhetorical question, right? Rhetorical
Oh,
situation.
yes.
There you go. Duh, duh, duh. I'm not doing well. uh,
What are you drinking right now?
just water.
Oh,
Oh,
boring. But
I
okay.
might pull. Yeah, maybe I'll. You know what? Let's take a little break. I'm gonna pop something open.
All right. Well, we're recording again, and we talked about best episodes. I mentioned my least favorite episodes. What were yours?
My least favorite was the Cooper Hofstetter polarization.
Mine too, actually.
That
Yeah.
one, man, I felt like everybody was whining. I felt like they were being mean to each other, kind of uncharacteristically. I felt like a lot of the jokes fell flat.
And for me, it was too much sciencey things.
That was too, yeah, a lot of
It was a
sciencey things.
science bowl. It was like, ugh, I'm researching science stuff. I am so bored.
Although I would say, just coincidentally, ironically, it has one of my favorite half IQ points in it.
Which one was that?
The guy at the end, the guys in China, who are basically like Leonard and Sheldon in China, wearing a superhero shirt, and I researched it, and it turned out to be some like obscure comedy superhero from like the 80s, like All American Man or something. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up. But
Yeah, it's a nerdy deep cut that you didn't expect to find.
exactly, like so nerdy and kind of playing on the whole. They're Chinese, but their superhero shirt they're wearing is an American character that's a goofy character. Like, whoa, rabbit hole, and I loved every minute of it. So it's weird that I really didn't like the episode, but that IQ point, half IQ point, made me happy.
All right. So now that we're moving on from IQ points, let's talk best guest actor and best celebrity cameo. So I guess in terms of guest actor, is there I guess a guest character that you really liked?
Sarah
or
Gilbert.
noteworthy.
Sarah Gilbert. I love her.
Leslie Winkle is a
Yeah.
shining bright star throughout the entire series.
Every single I guess she was in some episodes I didn't like so well, but she always adds to them and makes them better. She's just a great character and she pulls it off so well. Yeah, it's happy to see her. And I think you mentioned that she might be getting more screen time later, so I'm happy for that because she is a character that I want to see more of.
Yeah, we haven't gotten rid of her yet.
And that's something too, is that with that pilot episode, the Lost pilot, Gilda might have been a template for Leslie, but Leslie is, I don't want to say she's cynical, but she's not as bubbly as
No, a lot
Gilda.
more dry.
A lot more dry, and I like that about Leslie.
Yeah.
She was great with that. How about you?
She was actually mine too. I
Right.
said the exact same thing. And then best celebrity cameo, I always have to work in Sheldon's mom because Mary Cooper is my shiny gem.
That's what I was going with too. And I feel like I'm having a Roseanne flashback, right?
Yep.
With all the characters, but I what's her name? Laura Metcalf?
Metcalf?
Yeah, Metcalf. Yeah. She's in quite a few movies too, and I always enjoy her presence. I liked her. She's one of my favorite characters in Roseanne. I just loved seeing her, and when she came in and was Sheldon's mom and was very Texas-like and very like God loves the special ones. I appreciated how she pulled that character off.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. All right, best moment. Like, what's the best moment in the entire season 1 for you?
Oh, you go first.
For me, I have 2 moments. The first one, I would say it's kind of an obvious one, but it's Raj discovering that he could talk to women when drunk.
That goes hand in hand with mine. Yeah.
It's Raj is actually my favorite character too in the series, and seeing his such a large jump of growth and evolution to his character. All it took was like one little moment, and it opened up a plethora of storylines.
Yeah, so much good characterization. At that moment when everybody's kind of looking at each other like, what the fuck? like
what is happening? Yeah. Is this real?
It was great. Hand in hand with mine is, and technically he wasn't drinking, he was on medication, but the medication wears off and he's talking to Sheldon's sister and it just kind of collapses right in front of everybody and he turns and walks away and Sheldon's sister was actually interested in him.
That was fantastic. Just his facial reactions with Penny too. It's like, oh, your drugs are wearing off. And he's like, mm-hmm. And then my runner-up best moment was episode 17, The Cat's Alive. Leonard and Penny finally pulling the trigger and going for it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good safe go-to. It's just Cat's Alive, and I think I mentioned in our previous episode discussing it, I love how Leonard throws caution to the wind and finally, again with the characterization, takes action instead of sitting back with his life. It's great to see, and again, they both look at each other. Cat's alive.
And then one thing that I just threw on the list at the very end was in the pilot episode. I always think about this scene of when they first meet Penny, and she's kind of talking about herself, where she describes herself as a vegetarian, except for steak. I love steak. I don't know why, but that line always like it resonates to me.
You know, as one of my runners up was when Penny's friend comes to town and Howard hooks up with her and at the end, his friends save him from his mom and the woman who has now moved in with him, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Howard might be creepy. He's really creepy, but at the same time, it's that in that moment, he has those limits too, and everybody has faults, and he needed saving, and they were there for him.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any other noteworthy moments before we move on?
No. What are we at? Worst moment?
Worst moment, but I didn't write anything down.
You didn't write
I
anything?
couldn't. Yeah, it's like, huh. I guess that there's some annoyances, but like I didn't write any specific down where I was like, ugh, I can't stand this.
Yeah. It's something I mentioned in the previous episodes, but Sheldon not understanding other languages or getting them comically confused. I mentioned with the Spanish, confusing son and butcher, that Sheldon's too smart to misuse those words, even for comical effect. I didn't think it worked. And we talked about how in Mandarin he was saying, like, show me your mucus. And I just can't believe orange peels or citrus peels and mucus sound anything alike for him to mess that up, that he's too smart for that.
Yeah, the language thing was a little bit of a downer.
Yeah.
But it was all for like comical purposes, so it was all for a joke.
And it wasn't like a huge part of the show or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
they're kind of throwaway.
They're
right?
throwaway, yeah. Exactly. So what else we got left? We got
Well, really, I know I said I was done with IQ points, but scrolling down in my notes, I put it in the wrong spot.
Oh no.
So total IQ point.
Oh no, we can't go back now, Rob.
All right, I know. I messed up. So I should have done this at the beginning. So total IQ points. I wrote it all down, I typed it all up, and hopefully I counted it right. Hopefully I earned enough IQ points to at least be able to count things.
Yay! You haven't, though.
So I have.
Oh, no.
So, it's true. I didn't, because I was recounting them again, and the first number I had was wrong.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh god. I was like, oh god. Well, the number that I have, if anybody wants to fact check me, it was for season 1. So I did group IQ points and half IQ points all as one. So they're all just collectively IQ points. So total, we had 169.
Ooh.
Yep, the highest count was
you said 69.
Guess we haven't earned enough IQ points yet.
No, we're still working on it.
Well, the highest episode count was 17 in your favorite episode, the Pork Chop Indeterminacy.
Oh.
But granted, that was a mix of partials and whole IQ points.
Mm-hmm.
And the lowest count was in the pilot episode, where we only got 5.
Part of me wonders if that's because we're trying to figure out what we were doing, and if we went back, if we would find more to talk about. But
yeah, at the time where we were doing half and whole and everything like that, and then eventually I kind of just stopped counting halves and just like, you know what? It's an IQ point. I'm just going to call it an IQ point.
We're rounding up.
Yeah. We need to feed our egos somehow.
Yeah. Between 5-star reviews and IQ points, that's how we make a living.
But that was it. So we're done with IQ points. I don't know if we want to go over any noteworthy ones, or if we just want to move on into the Sheldon points.
We can move. We had a favorite character arc too. Did you have something for that? We kind of mentioned it, but
God, my notes are all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes, favorite character arc. Raj is my favorite character. I thought that he had the most growth in the season, because that's a huge milestone. Like, I think it trumps Leonard and Penny, because we all kind of saw that coming.
Yeah.
But then for Raj to make such a big discovery of that he could finally talk to women, he doesn't have, like, it opens up the door for so many things. For him to have a relationship, it's like so big.
And I love seeing him actively trying to improve himself, that he's going out there and doing the medical experiments, that
Yeah.
he's using alcohol to socialize, and that he's putting in the effort. And I do appreciate that. Whereas, again, with Leonard, like through most of the series, he's been sitting back like, I don't know what to do with Penny, until, of course, the kissing scene, the cat's out of that, or the cat's alive. He wasn't doing anything, and I like seeing people take action and try to improve themselves, and it's exactly what Raj is doing, and it's for comic book benefits too, so
Yeah.
double positive.
Yep.
All right, so Sheldon points.
Yeah. Thanks for sending me that spreadsheet.
I kept forgetting about it. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's totally fine.
And I hope I'm making it clear enough. I'm trying to write some notes in, and
Yeah, it took me a second at first, but then let me pull it up now. If I can. There we go. Did you do this on Apple Numbers?
I did.
How do you like that? I haven't used it. Is it similar to Excel?
It's
I use
pretty
Excel
similar. I think it's a little bit more of a lobotomized version, so it can't do everything the same. But for my needs, it's I think it's easier to use. A little bit more what's user friendly, I would say.
Okay.
But with that said, I know Excel's a more powerful program and can do more stuff.
Well, I grew up on PCs, so it's like I've always used Excel, so it's something that I've always just been kind of used to. And then so then I opened up Numbers not that long ago, because I was trying to like copy and paste something, because I use Google Drive or Google Sheets a lot too.
Yeah.
Just because that just kind of translates over through like my phone and through other like things and everything like that. So I was trying to copy and paste something, so I was like trying to play around with numbers, and I just could not figure it out.
That's I grew up with Windows as well, and I know the programs are excellent. But they cost quite a bit, and
They do.
also I kind of open up when it comes to like numbers or Excel. I just open up the first thing that comes up, and apparently it was numbers this time.
Yep. Well, all right. Let's go over some Sheldon points.
All right. So my favorite not Sheldon point, being like somebody else other than Sheldon, or relating to a person other than Sheldon in the show, is episode 12. And this is where they are trying to get rid of the smart kid, the Jerusalem duality, right?
Yep.
And Raj says something, and it's like, we have to think outside the box. Or
what
that's
if
the way
something?
Yeah.
What if something were to happen to him?
What something happened to him? They're like,
That's
we can't
how it
kill him.
starts.
And I'm like, I gotta think outside the box. We don't know if something might happen. He might, and something does happen to him. They just don't kill him. But I appreciate that.
But the thought crosses your mind.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to process it so you can move on to the next thought.
Yeah, I'll never do it, but it has to be an option. I mean,
if we
want to be thorough, you got to be thorough.
Cover all your bases before making a decision.
Yeah.
Did you get one? Favorite not Sheldon.
Yeah, where was it? I was briefly going over this. Give me 1 second. I think it might have been like the well, you put the drink. You drink. Oh yeah, that you drink and Sheldon doesn't. It was episode 8. Grasshopper effect. Wait, grasshopper experiment.
Yeah.
Where Sheldon was very particular about like the Cuba Libre.
Virgin Cuban Libre.
Yep.
Yeah, I brew beer at home. I like whiskey. I drink. So that is very not like Sheldon.
Yeah. Well, not to do too much spoilers, but there will be some times where you see Sheldon drink.
Dun, dun, dun. And they got him drinking at the end, right? Penny spiked his drink, ethically or morally.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
He was singing a song. He was doing a Fiddler.
Fiddler on the Roof, right? Dun, 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 dun.
We'll expect more of that.
And so that brings us into favorite Sheldon point, and I have two of them. Episode 14, the Nirvana Annihilation, when Sheldon calls Penny out for being a hypocrite, saying that she has her own toys, not sex toys. Every time I think about that, like I have the note in here, like she has her own toys. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, in this case, he's like, you have what, like the Care Bears, My Little Ponies, stuffed animals, and I appreciate that because I think everybody has their own interests in things that they spend money on, and I don't think it's anybody's right or judgment to make fun or insult or judge what they use their money on, what their interests are. And if it's a model toy, that's really no different than a gun. Like, why would you buy a special edition or authentic replica of a gun as opposed to an action figure? Like, it's all the same to me, that it's an interest, a hobby that you're investing in because you like it.
Exactly.
And I think
you and I are so tainted that every time we hear the word toy, we think something dirty.
Right? And to be fair, even the episode 0, The Lost Pilot, she thinks of the lightsaber as a toy.
Yep, that's a very long toy.
You know, if it's her kink, no kink shaming here. My second one was episode 8, where what was episode 8 called? It was the grasshopper effect again. Where he mentions having a special book his mom read him about a special person who was different than other people. And I had my own book called Leo the Late Bloomer that my parents read me. So yeah, that one that was an extra dear point to me. I fully related.
Well, one that I wanted to ask you about was that I was going through this list, and all it says is on episode 7, angry watching Doctor Who.
Oh, I can't.
Can you explain that one again?
I believe that's the one where he's trying to watch the episode, and people keep walking in and talking. And
that was Chicken Dumpling, or the Dumpling Paradox.
Was it the Dumpling Paradox?
I think so.
And he's like, I got up at this time, and like don't interrupt, like this is my time to watch the show, and they like keep interrupting. And all I'm recalling right now is that when I watch a movie, like there is a time to chit chat and talk about it, and there's a time to watch it, and if you keep interrupting to talk about it, I get very angry. Unless it's a bad movie and you're making fun of it, like mystery sci-fi style. But agreed. Otherwise, like I'm like, everybody zip their mouse until the movie's done. Or you can pause it. You can pause the movie and have a discussion, but you do not talk while the movie is running.
Yes.
So yeah, Doctor Who angry. I believe that's the one where he's trying to watch it and people keep talking.
Yeah.
Doctor Who angry.
All right. Well, anything else on the Sheldon points?
Those are mine. Did you have any that resonated with you, or that you thought were funny or horrific?
Let me see.
Kind of like a goddamn Ryan, what's wrong with you?
I'm definitely on board with the no chit chat thing. It's not my favorite thing in the world.
I don't care for chit chat.
The belief of survival of the fittest. Episode 12. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Some good moments.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun keeping notes and like looking back, like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I like the one of it's not my favorite, but on the left side of not being like Sheldon, I have no one expects, but sometimes you look and bam, there's Ryan.
That's a really good one.
What's Ryan doing here?
Bam!
Bam, there's Ryan. All right, so those are the Sheldon points.
Yeah. So now that we've completed season 1, where do you think it's going to go? Like, what's, like, I guess, since you don't know what happens beyond, what do you think is going to happen with our characters? Like, what's going to happen with Leonard and Penny? Are they going to last? Are they not going to last? What about Raj? What's going to happen with him? Howard, Sheldon, what do you think? Or have you put any thought into it?
Oh, I've put thought. And part of it is that one spoiler I got where Sheldon's kissing a girl. I believe that in a later season, I don't even think it's going to be season 2. I could be wrong on this, but my guess is season 2 is going to play out with the romantic relationship between Leonard and Penny and the hiccups it will encounter. And I think that it's probably going to fall apart, and we're going to have that Ross Rachel type relationship where they're going back and forth for a while. Are they going to be, or are they not going to be? Whereas Sheldon, probably in episode or season 3 or 4, is going to start getting romantically interested in somebody. Meanwhile, I would think that Raj is going to try to get over his fear of girls. But I'm not seeing that really overcome to like season 4, but we're going to see some progression. And I'd probably guess that Howard doesn't change.
Are you writing these down? You should totally write these down.
I should write these down.
Just so we can go back a little later and see if you're right.
Season 1 predictions. And there's something that I keep them in mind, but I should write them down too. Season 2.
Yeah, we gotta document this. Otherwise, we'll be like, wait, did I think about that? Did I say that?
That's my partner was reading a book, and apparently it's really popular right now. Like, I'm like, this is weird, or I'm not gonna say weird, but it's alien smut. And we walked into a bookstore. What is it? You can edit that out. I said a name and place, but
yeah, I'll bleep that.
So this book she was reading is about blue aliens. It kind of seems like Avatar, who have romantic relationships with human women. And I dreamt the other night. Like I started reading the book, but I was only a couple chapters in, and she had finished it, and she's like, "You have to read this just to know what's going on before you go see Avatar." Like, the new Avatar, because it's about giant blue aliens who have relationships with American, or not American, but actually, yeah, no surprise, they're all American women. Like it's no, yeah. So I must have dreamt this, but I recall having a conversation with her that it was talking at the end of the book about how they found happiness because of a unicorn, or she was the unicorn, or they were the unicorn, like a special example. And my partner's like, I never said that. I have no idea what you're talking about. And she still had like a sliver left to read in the book. And it was like a back portion, kind of like would it be a coda or an afterword? And she's reading it, and it mentions, "I am his unicorn." And she's like, "How did you know it was going to say unicorn?" I'm like, I have no idea. But anyways,
you saw it in a dream.
I saw it in a dream. But yeah, anyways, my predictions might be right on, because I might be psychic.
Oh my god, you're a witch.
I'm a witch. But
He's a witch.
That's why we have to write these down so nobody can say like you didn't write them down, you didn't predict that. But yeah, so maybe
or maybe like by season 6 you'll be like, I did predict that, and I'll be like, liar.
Liar.
I didn't.
Ryan.
I am not re-listening to our old episodes, so I'm just gonna call you a liar.
In fact, I just deleted them offline.
Gotcha. Well, great predictions. Definitely document it. The overall thoughts on season 1? You're still enjoying the show overall?
I'm still definitely enjoying it. We had a little slow spot there, like a halfway point, but it kicked up again, and I think the final 5 episodes were better than the first 5.
Yes, agreed. It's always hard when a show is trying to find their footing.
Yeah.
Like, it's always a hard thing because, like, it sucks when a show, when you hear from people that, yeah, you gotta ride through the first season and then it's great. It's
yeah.
Like, well, I don't want to.
Just get through,
like, to this day, I still have not finished season 1 of Parks and Rec. It's only 6 episodes, and I haven't finished it because it's so terrible. I'm just like, I can't. So if you ever watch Parks and Rec, anybody who hasn't watched it, just skip to season 2, and it's pure magic.
That's fair. I don't even remember season 1, but I love Parks and Rec, but I can't remember season 1, so
it's horrible. It's so hard to watch.
And to be fair, like until what's his name? The guy from Hellraiser. I love That's How I Know Him. He was in Krampus and
Is he in Parks and Rec too?
Yeah, he marries Leslie. Yeah.
Adam Scott is Hellraiser?
He was in like the 4th Hellraiser movie.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, he's kind of a side character who gets ripped apart, but he's in Hellraiser.
I thought you meant like the new Hellraiser that actually played Hellraiser, but I thought the new Hellraiser was actually a female.
Oh yeah, no, the new Pinhead is female.
That's why I was like, wait, what?
No, he's back like in the early 90s before like his career actually started up. He was like a side death character for Hellraiser. I think he has sex with a demon Cenobite. Some fun stuff before he dies, but that's how you want to go down. But anyways, until Adam Scott comes on Parks and Rec, I kind of felt like it was a little kind of like, but then him and
Rob Lowe, like Chris Traeger. I know he's a fictional character, but he is on like my vision board for who I want to be. Like, I know he's fictional, and I know no one is actually like that, but that's kind of like what you need to strive for.
It's fair.
He's like a superhero.
Vision board is Dr. Cox from Scrubs.
Oh, please no! You don't want to be Dr. Cox. No. Yeah, I don't want to be any character on Scrubs. They are all so flawed, which is part of why that's why it's such a great show too.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why I resonate with it. I love that show.
I was going to say, side note, back to Parks and Rec. April Ludgate is totally Wednesday.
I can see that.
I totally think that she was modeled off of Wednesday. Dark hair, pale skin, very dry.
And Aubrey Plaza is like that in real life too. She just plays it off well.
Yeah.
And I've heard she's in the new season of White Lotus on HBO.
Yeah, that's been buzzing like crazy. It's on my list right now.
That's why I still need to. I've watched a couple episodes of the first season, but I'm hearing great things about the second season too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aubrey Plaza is a lot like Wednesday. I can see that.
Yep. She is Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any last minute thoughts on season 1?
I think we covered
where we're gonna go. Where we're going.
I'm excited. I think that they have found their routine. That they got through that little hiccup, and that not every episode's going to be a winner. But I'm curious where this is going to go. I want to see more Leslie. I want to see where the cat is alive relationship goes, and I want to see more Raj. I want to see what he does with his life.
There are some great oh my god, I am so looking forward to season 2 and beyond. Like, this is where it gets so good.
This is good.
Oh.
Habit, that's the word, not hobby, but it's become a habit forming that I feel
I'm pretty sure you meant hobbit.
Hobbit, yes, it's a hobbit. We have developed a hobbit here. I'm gonna call it podcast Bilbo Baggins. Podcast Baggins.
Podcast Baggins.
Podcast Baggins.
And just like a wizard, we are never late nor early. We are precisely on time.
Wizard arrives precisely when he means to.
Yeah.
I tell my students that every quarter when I start my class. I go, I might be early, I might be late. A wizard comes.
No. And they don't get it.
They have no idea, yeah.
Because they're youths.
They're youths. And that's why I failed them all.
Yeah.
You're too young to pass.
Yeah.
You shall not pass.
You shall not pass. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. This was our season 1 recap. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed our recap on the Lost Pilots. We have great things in the future. 2023 is just around the corner, and that means season 2 of Big Bang Theory.
I'm looking forward to it, everyone.
It's going to be great. Well, thanks again for listening.
Thank you very much. Have a great holiday.
See you next year. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD necessary. Our intro and outro music is by Al Scroll, and our logo is by John Kim. Thanks for listening. We need food.